President Joe Biden is continuing his trip in the Middle East with plans to travel to the West Bank and Saudi Arabia. His visit has drawn criticism, though, on his pledge to not downplay human rights in both regions. Amy Liu is live at our Washington bureau for us. And Amy, we just heard from the president who did meet with leaders in Palestine. What more can you tell us?
Well, Paul, President Biden announced more financial aid and humanitarian assistance for the Palestinian people, a move to address building criticism on his trip to the Middle East. President Biden reiterating support for an independent Palestinian state, an ally that blames Israel for the killing of Palestinian-American journalist Shireen Abu Akleh.
The United States will continue to insist on a full and transparent accounting of her death and will continue to stand up for media freedom everywhere in the world.
But Biden's trip is also drawing criticism over a decision to meet Saudi Arabia's crown prince, blamed for killing U.S.-based journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
Being idealistic on the campaign trail is one thing. Dealing with a country like Saudi Arabia and world events is something else.
Defense experts call the president's trip necessary to strengthen ties in the Middle East while the world remains divided over the war in Ukraine.
So we either deal with them this way or we don't deal with them at all. I think between these two options, the president and probably most of Washington decided that we better keep them on our side.
The president is balancing all of this as the U.S. faces a global shortage of oil and needs to keep allies united against Iran. Paul?
Amy, I want to ask you about the president's trip to Israel earlier. What was the point there?
Right, the whole point there was to build a relationship with Israel, to keep nuclear weapons, again, away from Iran, which has potentially, according to reports, given drones to Russia. But again, this is all a fine balancing act here. The U.S. really wants to recognize Palestine as its own free state away from Israel. But elections held later this year could jeopardize all of that, especially the chance of bringing back former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who had supported building Israeli settlements in Palestinian territory. Paul?
All right, thank you, Amy, live from Washington for us this morning. Appreciate it.